Hi, everybody. It's Claudia with Cabin Talk, and I have today with me Harald Kautz, which I am so thrilled about. And many of you have seen him on here before. We've done a whole series before. And today we're going to talk about 5G and the wave salad that we are in the middle of. And so, hi, Harald. Great to have you back on. It's been a while, and people were worried about you. People were sending me messages. Is he okay? Is he alive? So I'm very happy to see that you are.
Yes, somebody announced that I'm dead because he wanted to put some importance to the citation he gave to people on another
Oh,
YouTube, and then it kind of caught fire and spread. I'm gone, but I'm not. I'm here.
right.
At
And
least
well,
I think so. Maybe I'm just my ghost who is still hoovering around and doesn't realize that it's over, but I don't think so.
no, I think it's you. It looks good. It looks like you. So today, oops, let me change this. This is my, I just wanted to share it on a couple other places, but I would love for you to just introduce yourself a little bit, if you don't mind. Harald is a
Mhm.
scientist. He lives in Germany, and but he does a lot of stuff in English and in German. And he is one of the most knowledgeable people I have ever met on geoengineering, on transhumanism, on all those things. And we have covered that in the past, but today we're going into 5G more. So, but if you would like to say a few more words about yourself, because it's always hard to introduce you. You're so multifold, such an interesting character.
Okay, maybe I have to jump in at a later moment in my life. It's getting interesting from 2012 when I was busy just as a side job or more as a favor for people to look into environmental monitoring. And this is where, for the first time, I came across substances that should not be in nature. And we, of course, try to look how it's related to damage in plant life, then later how it's related to damage in human health. And that is kind of what brought me into the broad topic of transhumanism.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last years, I actually more focused on human biology, and it was always clear that um, the transhumanistic technologies are run within the microwave spectrum as communication and control waves. But I never so much looked into the wave part of the business. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's around, but it's hard to get good measurement equipment and to read out data from what's broadcasted and analyze them. It's I don't have the formal education to do so. So I always kept a little bit away from analyzing and communicating things about the wave patterns used.
Mm-hmm.
But in this point of history, actually, it started with the California wildfires
Yes.
that you had all these wild rumors about what's going on. Is it kind of laser weapon shot from planes or and there I realized that actually the understanding I do have about general physics of electromagnetic waveforms is quite helpful to rule out certain things and put likelihood to others. What actually had happened in California and what type of
Mm-hmm.
weapons are used, because no one out there has an idea about the possibilities that lie within the waveforms they use in the military realm.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how we came to the idea to make something for the general public about the wave salad we're living in.
Right. Right. Now, Harald, I don't know what happened, but you are stagnant right now, and I know it's a problem that I have on my end. So let me just try to fix that. Here we go. Now you're mobile again. Okay, we're in the clear.
Okay?
Yes, we're good. Sorry
Okay.
about that. Yes, so the California wildfires, which is such a hot button topic, because, and like you said, there are wild rumors about what happened out there. And then when we had a conversation a few days ago, I was just blown away by what you were saying. And I think that needs to be out there.
Mm. Actually, the fruitful link is comparing what happened in California to the technology that is rolled out with 5G, because it's like a micronized version of the military technology that has been built at large scale. And whatever is possible with the military technology is what we saw actually in California, now also in Louisiana, where an entire electric infrastructure of a little town was taken out by directed energy, and possibly in New York. So this is kind of the large scale thing. And imagine you have this weapon in small scale, controlling, observing, and regulating whatever happens in a normal living community, in a town, in a village. This is kind of comparable in quality, but just from different size.
Right, right. And so, what do you think? How did it actually happen? How did the fires actually happen?
What you need to understand to get an idea how that works is what phase array technology is. We know that from HARP. HARP is classical phase array broadcasting. You have a field of single antennas that are built in a rectangular pattern like a chessboard and with a defined distance, and every single signal on every single antenna is completely controlled in a way that they have a phase, they broadcast on the same frequency, but with shifted phases. Like if you have one sign on one antenna, it starts here. On the second antenna, the sign starts a bit later. On the third antenna, it starts even later. So when all these sign forms overlay somewhere out there in open space, they might be annihilating each other. They might create white random noise, or they might add on to each other in a way that you get a laser quality, like all signs with a strong part in the same spot in the same moment. So this gives you the possibility actually to focus on a spot that is far out, far away from the antenna, have a kind of harmless signal all the way down to that spot that doesn't say anything to anyone, and then suddenly locally you get extremely high intensities that can be compared with a laser pointer instead of a little light bulb. So extremely effective in doing things. Then you have additionally, it's not only the energetic input with a laser or phase conjugated signals, it has certain frequencies that have an extraordinary influence on materials. You can, with very low energy, evaporate things out of nothing. Like some of these things are used in laser cutting technology. Kind of the rule of thumb is for 1/10 of a millimeter of metal sheet, you need 10 watts of laser light to cut it. Not try to cut steel with 10 watts of normal light coming out of a light bulb. It will never work. So it's clearly you realize that actually there's like 3,000 times more force and effect in coherent light, like delivered by lasers and phase array technology. So when you want to whatever destroy cars, you just create one of these hot spots in the middle of a road, and whatever drives through catches fire and fries the people inside. And this is what you actually can see in California. You've got completely non-burned forests to the left and to the right of the street, and then a line of wrecks that were completely burned down, with the people inside of the cars burned down to skeletons. And this is frying something with microwave that has this special laser quality. And it's exactly one type of antennas that can do it, because if you would take a normal laser cannon within the visible spectrum, it would look different. Maybe you could punch a hole into something, but it would not exactly heat the metal from inside out. This is something that is inducing current in the metal and heating it from inside out. Then you get molten engine blocks, molten aluminum wheels, like we saw the pictures in California.
Literally melted into the road. Yeah. And also the houses, because the trees next to it are standing, but the metal beams, everything is disintegrated. It's just a puddle.
Yeah, you just need metal, basically. So every single screw in the wooden construction will heat up and ignite a little fire.
Wow.
This is how easy the electric wires. It has been actually it has been used before as a more weapon to target single individuals. Like, for example, everybody who's been into researching transhumanism. Cara St. Louis, one day before she wanted to send the Sun Thief to her book editor, her house burned down. Officially, it was like an ignition in an old electric wire that burned it down. Sophia Smallstorm, as far I'm not 100% sure about Sophia, but I think she had a burning home as well. And I remember a year ago, two of my hot water devices died on the same day. One exploded and the other one caught fire in the electricity. So it's about basically inducing current on the length of a wire, and then you feed a house system with whatever, 20,000 volt, 40,000 volt. And whatever is consuming energy runs hot then. So this has been used before, but just targeting individuals. It works on special topics. Like it feels like they like to use a signature to make sure that people who get involved in things know what's lying ahead of them if they continue.
Right. Now, Harald, who would be capable of doing that? Would it be the electric company? Would it be the military? Who would be doing that in your estimation?
No clue. I have no clue who is in charge of the antenna systems that are on the ground in the United States. You've got all sorts of systems out there. What I suspect to be the main part of, especially the California events, are underground antenna systems that have been built on the floor of the Pacific Ocean. This comes from an interview that is actually already a couple of years old. It was a chemtrail pilot that spoke out in written form, and somebody took this letter that he wrote and read it to the public in a YouTube. And this chemtrail pilot stated that actually for every plane you see in the sky, you've got one underwater antenna erected on the ground of the Pacific. That they're fully autonomous building systems out there that erect these antenna systems. And I explicitly know that the technology is working because there's an older one in the Antarctic Sea, just a little bit off the coast of Thule. It's not an island, but a half island in Antarctica. And there, when you go to Google Maps and switch on a satellite view, you can see that they basically have a quite lively underground on the bottom of the sea, so they had to mount little mountains to put an antenna on, or dig holes to put an antenna in, to level them out, all of them. And there are more than 200-300 of these antennas in Antarctica, and you can see actually cloud patterns originating from there. Whenever you have funny weather events along the South American West Coast or the North American West Coast, there seems to be kind of or used to be a direct line between Harp, Alaska and this underwater system in the Antarctic, controlling the weather front that came in from the west into the both Americas, North and South. So this is around for quite a while, and I think the first of these antennas have been found underwater and described, filmed in the late 50s. So it doesn't, in Antarctica, it doesn't even look like human technology.
Wow.
But you never know who deals with whom in the hidden, and who took over possible alien technology or inspirations from alien technology to rebuild those systems for military use. So definitely what the guy said is that the US Navy is in charge of these antenna gardens.
Right.
And I guess if it's abused for these nasty things, if it's on behalf of the deep state, it might be naval intelligence, because they are very deep into black magic as well. So I would guess it comes from that corner.
Right, right. Wow. So 5G is really, is also what we're talking about, and it's starting to be everywhere.
5G is the same setup, just micronized. You've got a little device, and inside the device you've got a field of 64 times 64 or whatever numbers of antennas in a square, doing the same thing that these huge antenna systems, like started in Harp, Alaska. Same technology, creating phase array signals to be able to 100% focus on the 3D motion pattern of a single device. And once it's possible to target a device, it's also possible to target a human body in the way how he moves. And actually, we've got one 5G testing area in Berlin. And it was funny because I promised myself never ever to go there, because they might basically, knowing my signature and knowing that I'm actually on a couple of blacklists, they might just try to heart attack or brain stroke me, taking the opportunity to test if it works in such a territory. Right. So it was 100% clear that I'm not allowed to go there. And a couple of weeks ago, we were driving across this area, and I told the guy that was dealing with the GPS, make sure that we don't cross this field, you know?
Right.
And he somehow, either he was stupid or nasty or didn't really get what I was telling him, friend from Russia. And he navigated me just, touching the area. So I entered the 5G field.
Right.
And I survived it, so nothing happened. But it's good because now I know how the signature of it feels. And it's a completely different story if you compare it to 3G, 2G, 4G. It feels completely different.
Did you tangibly feel something?
Yes. I panicked in the car from what I felt. Because it was literally trying to take over control of my entire spiritual, internal awareness of myself. Wow. It was like being put into inner chains that I couldn't breathe and live and flow internally. Everything was just put into a technical order and felt like a complete, takeover attempt to turn me into a biorobot. And whenever your internal systems refuse to comply with these external signals, it becomes painful in a way, or causes panic, or I started to sweat, and it didn't feel good.
Right.
And it's interesting because other people live in this environment 24/7, and they don't even feel a difference. So I don't know, either it's my electrosensitivity that gives me the opportunity to sense what's happening,
Right.
Or
Right.
it's actually my internal refusal to go with the signals. And if everybody else in this area just goes with these signals and hands over control of its internal electromagnetics to this system, and uses it as his basic biological frequencies. This is kind of what also comes in with 5G, that all the frequencies that they use are actually identical with the internal frequencies biology is using. For the millimeter wave, look at DNA distance, it's exactly 1 millimeter. The entire communication that jumps from DNA to DNA is within this range. And so
Wow.
it's not it didn't surprise me that the grip of these frequencies is so straightforward in the emotional body.
Right. Well, and I want to add to that for people who don't know you as well. Harald has a great spiritual practice. He's very much in touch with his spiritual being, with his spiritual body. And so, and you live very much off the grid, as do I. So we're not exposed to as much, wave soup, like we call it, wave salad. So when we do enter into it, it really feels quite different. It feels like I can't be around too much electricity, too much wave. If I go in a city, I feel so out of place, and not just physically. I feel like I'm in an assault and I can't stay there too long. And I really haven't even gone to any cities in the last year or two, because I just I can't function there very well. So
definitely sleeping in Berlin doesn't work for me anymore. I tried it a couple of weeks ago. I had somebody to refurnish and paint his flat, and tried to sleep in the mobile home in front of his house, and I didn't sleep that night. It's like the body is tired, but consciousness does not switch off.
Right. Yeah. I've no interest in going to cities anymore. I mean, I've never been a city person regardless, but I really, if I'm not in nature, it just feels wrong.
Yeah, I was, and I miss it. But
right.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Health comes first.
Right, absolutely. And you know who also feels exactly that way, who I just was Skyping today with, writing on Skype, is Willem Felderoff.
Yes.
When he was still living in the city, he also was literally sick from the wave toxicity. And when he's in the country, in the middle of the woods, he feels pretty good. So I think he is having the same effects. And it's really crazy that they are trying to implement it everywhere. Are they trying to also implement the 5G in Europe everywhere, in Germany everywhere?
It got public, the topic. So it's been on all news that they intend to roll out. The thing that develops right now is that actually the private corporations would like to cover the big cities and maybe the highways and maybe the intermediate state roads, but not the countryside, because it doesn't pay for them. And then the state said, actually, either you take the business or you don't. Yeah, if you want to make money, make sure everybody's got access, but they don't feel like spending that money. And now we have a discussion whether the state should jump in and cover the countryside with 5G because it does not pay, which again is a thing of, okay, privatize the profit and let the state pay for all the losses, which we had enough of with everything, you know.
Right.
So people are not likely to accept these kinds of offers that come from lobbyists mainly. For the industry. So it's not sure. I don't really believe that we will have complete coverage in 5G, which is nice for my farm where I live on, because it's not going to happen here. I don't see it happening. But getting somewhere is already difficult, because once you enter a state road, you're within the reach of it.
Right.
And I don't feel like being in the reach of this technology.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would limit my possibilities. Going into cities would be impossible. Going to conferences would be impossible.
Right.
So if they manage to roll this out, I don't know. Maybe I would even leave Germany to get away from it.
They said in the US they want complete coverage into every little corner of the US.
Mm-hmm.
And they better not put it near my house. I mean it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's luckily it's all hidden in plain sight. If you look at the talk of the head of the state authority that is that's responsible for selling the frequencies to companies. He spoke that 5G is a must and we need that because it's a big business. And in his talk, he openly states that 50% of the business is private companies and 50% of the business is defense contractors.
Wow.
So just add one and one. What does a defense contractor need to do in his own homeland? Whom is he defending from whom? And if you look into their internal papers, it's like the future of warfare. It's also in plain sight. The war of the future is between the government and its own people.
Yep.
So he's expecting 50% of the income by selling the frequencies and the technology and the services to the US military that will be in war with the American population.
Right.
And what this means, you see in California.
Yeah, exactly.
You see in Louisiana, you see this is testing things. It's not even, it doesn't even have a real motivation. Of course, they give you some distracting stories like, wow, this paradise in California was sitting on a mountain of gold ore, so they cleaned the town for mining. Then you see all these lines. They're going to build a railroad system, and they don't want to have forests in the way when building it. This is kind of the fairy tales and stories and explanations you get in between here and there. Now you've got like the feds in paradise going to the people there, emptying their cars, getting hold of the weapons, and you hear that actually the entire town of Paradise was into owning weapons and into total opposition to the central government. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was just, taking the opportunity to disarm the population. Yeah, and if you are there and looking for people who went missing in this incident, it takes half an hour, and Homeland Security knocks on your door to take you away for some questionings. And wherever they take you afterwards, nobody knows.
Right.
So this is definitely a war between the American people, or between the government or the deep state and the American people. And the only really stupid thing about it is that by accepting 5G and by paying for the civil applications of 5G, by welcoming the new standard for mobile phones, you pay for your own execution.
Yep. Yeah.
So this is something stupid, and normally if people realize they're about to do something stupid, they always have the opportunity of not doing it. So this is why we're talking about that topic now.
Yeah, it's basically opting out. If we don't want what's coming to us, we need to opt out from having what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a choice that people need to make, I guess. Oh, go ahead.
It's for me like 5G is entering the no-go area. Till 4G, you have to be aware of the consequences. You have to be aware of the fact that it explicitly harms the mitochondria in embryos.
Yep.
Like if a woman gets pregnant, the embryo starts to develop in week 6 to 8. The ovaries of the baby develop. And this is the most sensitive phase, actually, when the eggs of the grandchildren are developing inside the embryo. This is also the third generation, kind of.
Right.
If you then have microwave exposure, then the mitochondria in these eggs are killed off. And there's no mitochondrium in the male in the sperm, so it's only coming from the female line. This means no grandchildren. And they did this already in the 60s within the military research, testing the results of microwaves on biology, and found that low dosage, a rat will survive, but the entire family of rats will go extinct over 7 generations.
Wow. Wow.
And this is the very beginning of research, when microwave was still handled as a possible weapon. And then they said, okay, it's a non-lethal but destructive weapon. And then they started to develop it for basically the civil market as weaponry that is technology. And when you go into the internal paper, it's exactly how it is stated. So your microwave oven in your kitchen, your smart meter, your mobile phone, these are all weapons camouflaged as civil technology.
Wow.
And at first hand, they are there to make us reduce population as fast and as uncruel as possible. So if you should be pregnant and you want to have grandchildren, make sure you stay out of any kind of microwave radiation. Because if not, you will see the result in 50 years, not earlier.
Right.
It's non-lethal for people now, but it still has some outcome. Non-lethal doesn't mean that it's not damaging the health. If you look into third world countries, with the introduction of mobile phone technology, healthcare costs tripled in average. Yeah. So this is what the technology does to people. So it's not like, as I said, 5G for me is a no-go area. The rest is extremely dangerous and damaging, and you need to find your way to deal with it. Which for me is definitely moving out of the city, because I can't control the Wi-Fi of my neighbors. You can go there, ask them at least to switch off at night. You can give them as a present a little plug with a timer, so that it switches off at a time where they usually sleep and switches on in the morning. So at least sometimes this helps a little bit. But some of the neighbors always go mad at you and say you're some fucking conspiracy theorist.
Right.
Sorry for the F word. We have to delete it.
No, love that. I use it all the time. How can you not in those times? How can you not use it?
Yes. Some things need to make you angry. It doesn't work differently anymore.
Clearly, exactly.
And especially the boys who always carry their mobile phone in the pocket of their trousers. How stupid can you get? Yeah, this is reducing testosterone by 70%.
Wow, really?
And killing half of your sperm. And then you kind of you look at yourself and wonder why you've got tits growing on your breast, and are more interested in your male colleague than in the girl next door. Oops.
Wow, I did not.
We go transgender. No, we got microwaved. We're not going transgender.
Wow, I did not know that. I did not know that it kills 70% of the testosterone. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And you don't even need the phone. It's just the signal that is giving the position of the phone that pops up every 12 seconds or whatever. to give the mass the possibility to locate where the phone is completely enough to reduce testosterone by
Wow.
70% and kill half of the sperm.
Wow.
Of course, with the transgender thing, it's more. It's also the chemicals in plastic that are very similar to female hormones. The hormones given to animals we eat. So there are many, many reasons for the overall picture. But
Yep.
microwave is definitely involved.
Wow. Amazing. You are always so full of knowledge. It blows my mind every time we talk. Literally. It's amazing. And there are so few people that put it together as concisely, you know. And so our options are really just to step outside the system as much as possible. Or do
At
we
the
have
moment,
other
yes.
options?
I don't know. You don't step out of the system if you don't use the technologies actively. All you do is cutting them off your monetary supply. So nobody needs to pay for a mobile phone or for whatever. Nobody is cutting himself off of internet access when he's using cables instead of Wi-Fi at home.
Right.
This is what I do. I've got a satellite dish because we don't have a landline. The only way to connect with anything, it's at a corner of the house where I don't stay too often, so that the signal from the dish is not too strong, and it's directed to the sky, so not to the direction of the house. But still, we do feel the satellite when this dish is switched on.
Right.
And it's not comfortable. And of course, we reduce online time as much as possible. So I hardly go on the internet for fun, or just I go for interviews, for daily research, what's new in the world, whatever is necessary for communication, and that's it. And I don't have it running all day.
Right.
So, and I'm in an age where I don't expect to have more children. So if I ruin the quality of my sperm, nobody suffers too much.
Right. 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 I mean, I basically do the same. I use my cell phone now like a house phone. I keep it in the house most of the time. I don't drag it around with me anymore. And my Wi-Fi is shut off unless I actually use it, and it's always off at night. Always. I always turn it off when I go to bed.
There's one more topic, just for those who don't know the relation, that is very clearly proven. The combination of mercury values in the body that actually everybody has who does eat sea fish or get vaccinations during his life.
Right.
So the combination of mercury in the biology plus a certain level of microwaves, this combination gives 100% autistic children.
Wow.
This is something Dietrich Klinghardt found out in a study. He actually checked the sleeping places of mothers of autistic children and found that those two conditions, a given mercury poisoning plus exceeded values in microwave, are an absolutely secure way to get 100% autistic children.
Wow.
And I don't know where the value is at the moment. I think it's one of 87 or something in the United States.
No,
that is
it's
born
down
autistic.
to one of 42. 1 out in 42.
Yes.
Is the latest
that's
how many.
Didn't hear about that.
And I think 1 out of 20 some boys. So boys are more affected than girls. It seems.
It's testosterone related.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the internal biochemistry. This is like, it's weird because I can't really feel how it internally works in other people. You give out that information, and then you get a yes, but I can't live without my mobile.
Right.
And I go like, did you even listen what I just said?
Right. Right.
And then you get a yes, but yes, but in a way, yes, but is the two words where you can diagnose victim mentality on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I agree.
maybe it's related to a victim mentality that they just find it normal that they're victimized.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, no, you don't need to use this technology in such an extent. It's not necessary. You
Right.
can
Right.
love yourself enough to make a difference from now on for the rest of your life. You can switch off Wi-Fi, reconnect to cable. A cable costs stupid $10. So what?
Yep.
If you can afford a new computer every 2 years, you can afford a stupid cable to not kill yourself,
Right.
to not kill your offspring, to not create autistic children. I
Yep.
mean, just maybe it's about the money. Imagine how much this will cost to grow up with an autistic child at home that will never leave because he can't live on his own.
Right.
Ex-
Right.
if the suffering of these children is not enough motivation to rethink behavior, maybe the
Exactly.
cost of it is. I don't know where to grab people, but I never grabbed anyone.
Right.
Not in, at least not in. I don't know what difference it makes to be online with these topics, but in direct communication with people that I confronted with that topic for the first time, I didn't see any change in behavior.
Right.
Nothing, not a single one. And I don't
Right.
get it. I don't.
Well,
I
I
don't.
think, and I struggle with that a lot, Harald, because I feel like, does it even make a difference if we come on? Does it even make a difference if I make videos? And I think, in a broad sense, we probably don't make much of a difference. But I know that some individuals have made significant life changes because of the videos. And that's the reason I keep going, because I feel if I change one person, 5 people, I've done something in the world. You know what I mean? So I'm sure we can't change 5 million people or 5 billion people. But I think some people have moved into the country because of what we say. Some people have made tangible changes, and I think that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me alive. Honestly.
I, it's a little bit like sometimes I have to think about Sodom and Gomorrah
Yep.
and about the 10 righteous people who made a difference that the town at least got or didn't get mercy. I mean, it didn't get at the end because they couldn't find the 10 righteous. But
Oh,
maybe to make it this time with the entire world will make a difference. I don't know. I mean, we don't have or at least I don't have a choice in any case.
right. Right.
If you realize things, there's no way not speaking them out.
I agree.
And it's
I
not up
agree.
to us to decide who takes care of himself and who doesn't.
You
It's a
can
hard
in
lesson to learn.
right. And in the US you say you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. And so we can at least try to show where the watering hole is, and hopefully some of them will drink, which I know
Yeah.
some of them do. And the thing is, we can put out an energy into the world of change and of kindness and of wisdom and knowledge, and we can change the energetic field with it. And I truly believe that.
Yeah. Once you're with horse sayings regarding your own elites,
Right?
if you realize that the horse you're riding is dead, step down.
Oh, yep. Yep, that's true too. Oh my God. Well, that was amazing again, as always. And Harald and I are going to come on and we're going to do a cook-off one day, because food is as important as everything else because it nourishes our body or it destroys our body. And that is really a choice we also need to make every day, what we put into our body. And also whether it cleanses our body of toxins or whether it adds to the toxic soup inside of us. So food is enormously important, and you wrote a whole paper on that, Harald, how to clean the body and what foods and all of that. So that's an amazing paper in itself that everybody should really read.
Yeah, my idea was that Claudia and me, we could show each other our most tempting recipes and just put the laptop in the kitchen and cook and explain how it
Right,
works. Of course, we
right,
have to pre-agree on the ingredients that you can, while I cook, also do the same thing and then tell me if you like it or not.
right,
And everybody
right.
else either can listen to the conversation in between. That might be funny as well.
That might be
Or
funny
also
too.
cook in the time if he's got the ingredients at
We
home.
might give them the ingredients list ahead of time, and then they can
Yeah,
join
possible.
us.
If it's live, yeah, if it's live,
Yeah,
we can do
yeah,
that.
they could join us right there on the spot. That would be fun. We need to find something that only has like 5 ingredients, that isn't like a whole ringamarole of ingredients. We need to find something that's fairly easy. And then maybe some people have it at home regardless.
Yep, yep. I've got quite a few ideas already.
Oh, good. I don't have any right now. We'll go with your ideas.
Yeah, I found a few nice ways to prepare things with turmeric,
I
because
love
turmeric is
turmeric.
quite essential in nutrition.
Yeah.
And I came across it on in Prague in a buffet, and I couldn't stop eating that stuff until the entire big bowl was empty.
Oh, good.
It's yeah, but this is going to be a surprise. It has to do with apples. So
Okay. Okay. I love apples, love turmeric. So right there, we're on the up. I love food. Doesn't even matter. I mean, I just love to eat. So yeah, that will be fun, and we'll schedule that in the near future. I think that'll be really awesome, actually, and people
yeah,
will definitely join for that too.
yeah, I have to buy another cable to get my connection to the kitchen, and this is
Right?
how it works. Get the
Right.
cable first, then go cooking with
Exactly.
Claudia.
Yes, exactly. On 2 continents. Well, thank you again, Harald. It was truly a pleasure, as always, to have you on, and a privilege, because I know that you could be on any channel, and I really appreciate you coming on here. And I know people, just from the comments, I'm sort of glancing at them here and there. Oh, there was one that I wanted to ask you. What do you think about organite? Does it help?
In principle, yes, it does work the way it's described. It's attracting and absorbing rather unfriendly forms of radiation. The thing is that it's absorbing it, and at a certain point, the material is saturated. And then it starts to again distribute this type of signature to the environment. And then, of course, the question is, if you just buy a simple one or make a simple one yourself, how long can you use it? In a halfway healthy environment, it's about 3 to 6 months you can use it. And what then? Do you want to throw it away? Do you want to burn it? Just put it, what to do with it? So that's a problem, because if you just keep it in your environment, it's getting toxic. If you put it somewhere else, it's getting toxic somewhere else. There are a couple of ways to inbuild things that keep the quality okay. What you can do is you can use it like a crystal, wash it under running water frequently, or put it into a little river stream, have flowing water on it, then the negative energy is discharging again. So you
Oh, okay.
can clear it. This is one possibility. The other possibility is that there are certain crystals you can use, build them in, that keep the material clean of these bad signatures and energies. I have to, let me see if I can find the English name of that mineral. Disdain or cyanite. Cyanite.
Cyanide.
This is one of the. It's one of the rare stones that has no ability to absorb or to carry negative energy for himself, and it's cleaning and absorbing these energies and just transmuting them from direct environment. So if you put one of those inside,
Okay.
then it should be okay. Other people did work with a double end, a symmetric quartz twin, but I'm not sure if that works. I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen other possibilities, but I think they're too expensive
Right.
to give it as an
Harald,
advice.
can you spell it again? The name of the crystal? Can you spell it one more time?
Distane, Distthene, or cyanide, Cyanite.
Okay, great. Great.
It's not transparent. It's opaque. It's a little bit white, grayish, bluish, and grows in looks a bit like wood in structure.
Great.
Great blue.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks. And everybody here is so appreciative and happy that you were on, and as am I. So thank you so much. Unless in the last second another question pops in my head, we have to wait till next time. So thank you again for coming on and for all the knowledge you have, and for bringing it across so easily, because sometimes you listen to people and you need a dictionary and a science degree in order to understand what they're saying. And so I'm really grateful you're putting it in terms that normal people like me and some of my listeners can actually understand. So that was amazing again. Thank you so much, Harald. And we'll set a date soon for when we do our American-German cook-off.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks to you.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.